Throughout our lives, relationships shape who we are and profoundly influence our journey. Friends, family, romantic partners, colleagues, each connection serves a purpose, teaching us lessons, bringing joy, and sometimes presenting challenges. However, not every relationship is meant to last forever. Sometimes, for our own growth, healing, or protection, certain people must leave our lives. Many believe that God, in His wisdom and love, orchestrates these changes as part of a divine plan. But how can we recognize when God is trying to remove someone from our life? What signs might indicate that a relationship has fulfilled its purpose, or that someone's presence is hindering our progress? In this exploration, we'll uncover 6 powerful signs that God may be guiding you to let go of a particular relationship. By understanding these signals, you can navigate transitions with faith, courage, and clarity. The first sign to consider is persistent inner unrest. Often, our intuition acts as a conduit for divine guidance, a gentle nudge from God, alerting us when something isn't right. You may begin to feel a sense of unease around a certain person, anxiety, discomfort, or emotional exhaustion. This unrest doesn't stem from a single disagreement or misunderstanding, but rather is a consistent feeling that lingers despite attempts to resolve it. Perhaps you notice that your energy is drained after every interaction, or you find yourself dreading meetings and conversations with this individual. God uses our inner spirit to communicate, and such persistent unrest can be a signal that this relationship is not aligned with your highest good. It's important to honor these feelings, as they often point to deeper truths that our rational minds might overlook. When you experience such ongoing discomfort, pause and reflect. Is this person helping you walk in peace and purpose, or is their presence stirring turbulence in your soul? The second sign is repeated conflict and unresolved tension. All relationships encounter challenges, but when disagreements become the norm rather than the exception, it may be a sign from God that something is amiss. Communication breaks down, misunderstandings multiply, and efforts to reconcile seem to fall flat. You may notice that issues are never truly resolved, and old wounds are frequently reopened. This cycle of conflict can erode trust, respect, and affection, leaving you feeling isolated or misunderstood. In some cases, God allows friction to escalate so that you can see the reality of a relationship that no longer serves you. It's His way of making you uncomfortable enough to reconsider your attachment. While it's natural to try and fix things, sometimes the healthiest choice is to accept that harmony cannot be restored and that releasing this relationship is the path to peace. The third sign is a shift in life direction or values. As you grow and evolve, your priorities and beliefs may change. Sometimes, God leads you into a new season, calling you to pursue different goals, embrace new opportunities, or deepen your faith. When this happens, you may find that certain people no longer share your values or support your journey. Conversations feel out of sync, and you sense a growing distance as your paths diverge. Perhaps you're drawn to healthier habits, spiritual growth, or new ambitions, but the other person resists or even discourages your progress. This misalignment can signal that God is preparing you for a new chapter, and that holding on to relationships rooted in the past could hinder your future growth. Trust that such changes are part of God's plan, and that by letting go, you create space for connections that align with your purpose. The fourth sign is the emergence of toxic behavior or emotional harm. God desires that we live in relationships characterized by love, respect, and kindness. When someone begins to exhibit patterns of manipulation, deceit, abuse, or negativity, this is a clear indication that their presence is detrimental to your well-being. Toxic behaviors can be subtle, such as persistent criticism, controlling tendencies, or emotional withdrawal, or overt, like aggression or betrayal. Over time, these actions chip away at your self-esteem, peace, and security. You may feel trapped in a cycle of hurt, unable to break free despite knowing that the relationship is harmful. In these moments, God may be urging you to recognize your worth and prioritize your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Setting boundaries and releasing toxic individuals is not only an act of self-care, but also a step of faith, trusting that God will provide healthier relationships in their place. The fifth sign is obstacles and closed doors. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, circumstances conspire to create distance between you and another person. Plans fall through, communication becomes sporadic, and opportunities to connect dwindle. You may notice that paths that once brought you together now seem blocked, and attempts to reconnect are met with resistance or indifference. These obstacles are often God's way of redirecting your focus and energy. When doors close repeatedly, it's a signal to pause and consider whether you're forcing a connection that's no longer meant to be. God uses closed doors to protect you from relationships that could hinder your progress or distract you from your purpose. Rather than fighting these changes, embrace them as divine intervention, trusting that new opportunities and connections are waiting on the other side. The sixth and final sign is a deep sense of release and peace when you let go. If you've wrestled with the idea of ending a relationship, prayed for guidance, and finally made the decision to move on, pay attention to how you feel afterward. Often, God affirms your choice through a profound sense of relief, freedom, and tranquility. The emotional heaviness lifts, and you begin to experience more joy, clarity, and hope. Though the process of letting go may be painful, the aftermath is marked by a renewed sense of wholeness. This peace is not fleeting or superficial, but rather a lasting assurance that you are walking in alignment with God's will. When you sense this release, trust that you have made the right decision and that God is guiding your steps toward greater fulfillment and purpose. Understanding these 6 signs can empower you to navigate relationships with discernment and faith. The process of letting go is rarely easy. We become attached to people, memories, and the comfort of familiarity. Yet, God's wisdom surpasses our understanding, and His plans are always for our good. When He prompts you to release someone, it's not an act of punishment, but an invitation to step into a new season of growth, healing, and opportunity. By paying attention to persistent unrest, repeated conflict, shifts in values, toxic behavior, closed doors, and the peace that follows release, you can discern God's guidance and make choices that honor your well-being and purpose. Let's dive deeper into each sign, exploring how they manifest and what steps you can take to respond with grace and courage. Persistent inner unrest often begins as a whisper, a subtle discomfort that grows louder over time. You may notice that your thoughts become consumed with worry or doubt whenever you think about the person in question. Sleep may be elusive, and your heart feels heavy with the weight of unresolved emotions. This unrest can manifest physically, with tension, fatigue, or even illness. God designed our bodies and minds to alert us when something is wrong.
A new opportunity to set
By
the
tuning
tone
into
for the
these
day,
signals,
to
you
seek
honor the
divine
wisdom He has
protection,
placed within you.
and to align ourselves
Rather
with the
than
promises
ignoring
found
or
in the
suppressing your
sacred
discomfort,
texts.
take time to pray,
Among all the
journal,
passages
or
in
seek
the Bible,
counsel from trusted
Psalm
sources.
91 stands out as a
Ask God for
profound
clarity and
declaration
courage
of
to
God's
discern the root
protection,
of your unrest.
comfort, and assurance.
Often, you'll find that your intuition
For
has been trying to
generations,
protect you from
believers
harm
have turned
or
to this
guide you
psalm,
toward healthier
reciting
relationships.
its words with hope and faith.
Repeated conflict
trusting
and
in the
unresolved
secrets it
tension
holds.
can erode even the
But
strongest
what are
connections.
these secrets? What
You may
hidden
find yourself
treasures
trapped
lie
in
within
cycles
the
of
lines
argument,
Psalm
frustration,
91?
or
And
disappointment.
how can speaking them
Perhaps
each
you've tried
morning
everything.
transform your life?
Open conversations,
The opening verses
apologies,
of Psalm
compromises,
91
and
set
forgiveness.
the stage for a
Yet,
revelation of
the
God's
same
character.
issues resurface,
He who
and
dwells
harmony
in the
remains
secret place of
elusive.
the Most High shall
God
abide
uses
under the
conflict to
shadow of the
reveal
Almighty.
incompatibilities or underlying wounds
These words
that
invite
cannot
us
be
into a
healed
hidden
within the
sanctuary,
context of a particular
not a physical
relationship. It's
location,
not a failure
but a
to
spiritual
recognize
state
when
of
reconciliation is
abiding in God's
impossible.
presence.
It's
The
wisdom.
secret place is
By
more
accepting
than a
that you
metaphor.
cannot force peace,
It is a
you
mindset,
free
a
yourself from the
daily
burden
habit
of trying to
turning
fix
our
what is
hearts to
beyond
God,
repair.
seeking refuge in
Instead,
His love.
focus on cultivating relationships
morning,
that
as you
bring
rise
mutual
and speak
understanding,
these words,
respect,
you are
and joy.
choosing to dwell in that
A shift
secret
in life
place,
direction or
under the
values can feel
protective shadow
unsettling,
of the
especially
Almighty.
when it leads to
The next
distance
verse
from those you
declares,
once held
I will
close.
say of the Lord, He is
Growth
my
is a
refuge
natural
and my
part of
fortress,
life, and as
my
you
God.
pursue new
In
goals
Him will I
or
trust.
deepen your faith,
Here, a
some
key is
relationships
revealed,
will
the
naturally
act of
fall
saying.
away.
There is
You may
power in
sense
the
that
spoken
conversations
word.
no longer
By
flow,
verbally
interests
affirming your
diverge,
trust in
and
God
shared
each
experiences
morning,
become
you
less
activate
frequent.
a spiritual principle.
This misalignment
You are
is
not
often
merely
God's way of
reading ancient
preparing you for
poetry.
new connections
You are
that
making a
reflect your
declaration,
current journey.
establishing a
Rather than
stronghold
clinging
of
to the
faith
past,
around your heart
embrace
and
the
mind.
changes as
The secret
opportunities
here
for
is
renewal.
that God's promises
Trust
are not
that by
passive.
letting go, you
They
create
respond to your
space for
act of
relationships
faith,
that
your
support
willingness
your
to
growth
declare and
and
trust.
honor your
As the
evolving
psalm
values.
continues, it offers assurance
Toxic
against
behavior
unseen
and emotional
dangers.
harm are clear
Surely
indicators
He
that a
will
relationship
deliver you
is
from
no
the
longer
snare of the
serving your
fowler
highest
and from
good.
the deadly pestilence.
God calls us to love ourselves
Life
and
is full of
others,
hidden
but He
traps,
does not ask us
dangers
to
we
endure
cannot
abuse,
see, fears that
manipulation,
lurk in the
or
shadows.
toxicity.
Yet by speaking
Recognizing
these words
unhealthy
daily,
patterns
you are
requires
inviting
courage
divine
and
intervention.
honesty.
The secret is
It may
that
be
God's
difficult to
protection
admit that
is
someone
not
you care
limited
about
by
is
what
causing
you can
harm,
perceive.
but denial
He
only
is at
prolongs
work
the
behind
pain.
the scenes, shielding
Seek
you
support
from
from
harm,
trusted friends,
orchestrating your days,
counselors, or
and
faith
guiding your
leaders
steps.
who can help you set
By
boundaries
saying
and
these verses aloud
prioritize your
each
well-being.
morning, you are aligning
Remember,
yourself with
letting
His
go of
protection,
toxic individuals is an
trusting
act
that
of
He is
faith,
working
trusting
even
that
when you
God will
cannot see.
protect you
Another
and lead
layer
you
of
to healthier
mystery unfolds,
relationships.
as the psalmist writes,
Obstacles and closed
He
doors
shall
often
cover you
appear
with His
as
feathers,
coincidences or
and under
unfortunate
His
events,
wings you shall
but they
find
may be
refuge.
divine
His
interventions.
faithfulness
When
is a
plans
shield and
consistently
buckler.
fall apart,
The imagery
communication
here
breaks
is
down,
intimate and
or
nurturing,
circumstances
like a
prevent
mother
connection,
bird sheltering her
pay
young.
attention.
God's
These obstacles may be
faithfulness
God's
forms a
way of
barrier
steering you
around
toward new
a shield that
opportunities and
cannot be
relationships.
penetrated.
Rather
The
than
secret
resisting
within
or
these
lamenting
lines is
closed
the
doors,
invitation to
ask
rest,
God for
to
wisdom
lay
to
down
see
your
the bigger
anxieties
picture.
and burdens each
Trust
morning,
that every ending
knowing
is
that
a
you
new
are
beginning,
covered by
and that
unwavering
He is
love.
guiding your steps toward greater
Speaking these
fulfillment.
words is an
A
act of
deep
surrender,
sense of release
a
and
daily
peace is
reminder that
perhaps
you are
the
not
most
alone,
affirming sign of all.
not exposed to the storms
After
of
making the
life
difficult
without
decision
shelter.
to let go,
The psalm
you may
continues with
notice that
bold
the emotional
declarations.
burden
You
lifts
shall not
and
be
you feel
afraid
a
of the
renewed
terror
sense
by
of
night,
freedom.
nor of the
This
arrow that
peace is
flies by
God's
day,
way of reassuring
nor
you
of the
that you are
pestilence that
walking in
walks
alignment
darkness,
with His
nor
will.
of the destruction that lays
Celebrate
waste
this
at noonday.
release as a confirmation
Fear is
that
a
you have
constant
made the right
companion in the
choice,
world.
and
Fear of
embrace the new
unknown, of
possibilities
illness,
that await.
of disaster.
As you
But the
reflect on these
secret woven
signs,
into these
remember
verses
that
is a
God's
promise of
guidance is
peace.
always rooted
When you
in
say
love
these
and
words
wisdom.
each morning,
He
you
sees
are
the bigger
pushing back
picture,
against fear,
understanding your
refusing
needs,
to let it
dreams,
take
and
root in your
destiny
heart.
far better than you can.
Instead, you are choosing
When He
faith
prompts you
over
to
fear,
let go of someone,
confidence
it's
over
because He
uncertainty.
desires to bless you with
1,000 may fall at
relationships
your
that
side,
bring joy,
and
growth,
10,000 at
and
your
purpose.
right hand.
Trust
But it
His
shall
timing,
not come near
even
you.
when it feels painful
This
or
is a
confusing.
radical promise of
The
divine
process of letting
distinction.
go may involve grief,
world may be in
uncertainty,
turmoil.
and doubt, but it
Chaos
also
may
opens the
swirl
door to
around
healing,
But
renewal,
by
and
affirming
joy.
these words,
How
you
can
are
you
claiming
respond when
a
you sense
unique
God
place
is
of
leading you to
safety.
release a relationship?
The secret here is not
The
that
first
trouble
step
will
is
never
prayer.
come,
Seek
but
God's
that you are
guidance,
set
asking for
apart,
wisdom,
marked
clarity,
by
and
God's
courage.
favor and protection.
Be honest about your feelings,
Each
fears,
morning,
and hopes.
as you declare
Invite
these
Him into the
verses,
process,
you are
trusting
stepping
that He
into
will
that
provide
promise,
comfort and direction.
reaffirming your belief
Second,
that you are
surround
guarded,
yourself with
watched
supportive
over,
people,
and cared for.
friends,
The
mentors,
psalmist
or
goes
faith
on to
leaders who can
reveal
offer
another
perspective
secret.
and encouragement.
Because you have
Share
made the
your
Lord,
journey
who is
and
my
allow
refuge,
others to walk
even the
alongside
Most
you.
High, your
Third,
dwelling place,
set healthy
no
boundaries.
evil shall befall
Communicate
you,
your
nor
needs
shall any
respectfully
plague
and
come near your
clearly,
dwelling.
and take steps
The
to protect
condition
your
is clear,
emotional, mental,
making
and
God your
spiritual
dwelling
well-being.
place.
Boundaries
This is
are
not
not
a one-time
walls.
decision,
They're
but a
safeguards
daily
that honor your
practice.
dignity and promote
By
healthy
saying these
interactions.
words every morning,
Fourth,
you are renewing
embrace
that
the
choice,
grieving process.
inviting God into every
Letting go is
aspect of
often
your life,
accompanied by sadness,
home,
anger, or
your
regret.
work,
Allow
your
yourself to
relationships.
feel and express
The
these
secret
emotions,
is in the
knowing that
consistency,
healing
the
takes
daily
time.
act of turning to God
Finally,
and making
focus
Him the
on
center
growth
of your
and
life.
renewal.
For He shall give
Use
His
the space
angels
created
charge
by
over you
releasing
to
unhealthy
keep you in all
relationships
your
to
ways.
invest in yourself,
Here,
pursue
the
new
psalm
interests,
reveals a
and cultivate
supernatural
connections that reflect your
angelic
values
protection.
and purpose.
Most of the time,
Trust
we
that
go
God
about
will
our
bring new
days
people
unaware
into
of
your
the
life
invisible
who
forces
support
at
and
work
inspire
on our
you.
behalf.
It's
But each
also
morning,
important to remember
as you
that
say
letting
these
go
words,
does not
you
mean
are
abandoning
invoking that
compassion
protection,
or forgiveness.
acknowledging that you are not
You
alone.
can release someone from your
The
life
secret
while
is that
still
God
wishing
has
them
assigned
well and
angels to
praying
watch
for their
over
healing.
you, to guide
Forgiveness
and guard
is a
you in
gift
ways you
you
may
give
never
yourself,
fully understand.
freeing you from
They
the
shall
burden
bear
of
you up in their
resentment
hands,
and allowing
lest
you
you
to
dash
move
your
forward
foot
with
against a
grace.
stone. The
As
smallest
you navigate
details of
these
your life
transitions,
matter to God.
hold on to the promise that
No
God's
stumble,
plans are
no
always
misstep
for
is
your
too
good.
minor for His
He
concern.
knows the desires
By
of your heart,
declaring these
and He is
words every
faithful
morning,
to lead you
are
toward
inviting
relationships
God's help
that
in
nurture
both
your
the
soul.
major challenges
Embrace
and the everyday
change
moments.
as an opportunity for
secret is
growth,
in the intimacy
trusting
of
that
God's
every
care.
ending is a
He is
doorway
attentive
to
to
new
your every
beginnings.
need. You
Letting
shall
go of
tread
someone
upon
you
the
care
lion
about
and the
is one of the
cobra.
hardest
The young
decisions you'll
lion
ever
and the
make.
serpent you shall
It
trample
requires
underfoot.
courage,
These
faith,
are
and a
symbols of
willingness
danger,
to trust God's
opposition,
wisdom.
and evil.
But as you honor the
psalm
signs He
offers not
provides,
just
persistent
protection,
unrest,
but
repeated
victory.
conflict, shifts in
speaking these
values,
words each
toxic
morning,
behavior,
you are
closed
claiming
doors, and the
authority
peace that
over
follows
the challenges
release,
you face. face.
You create space for
Believing that
healing,
with God's
growth,
help,
and
you
joy.
can overcome any
In
obstacle.
every season
The
of
final
life,
verses
relationships
shift
are a
from the voice
gift.
of the psalmist
Some are meant
to
to
the
last
voice
a
of God
lifetime,
himself.
while others serve a
Because he has
specific
set his
purpose
love upon
and
me,
then fade away.
therefore I will deliver
By
him.
listening to God's
I will
guidance
set
and
him on
honoring
high,
your own
because he
well-being,
has known my
you can
name.
navigate these
He shall
changes with
call upon
grace.
me, and I will answer
Remember,
him.
you
I
are
will be
never
with him
alone.
in trouble.
God
I will
walks with
deliver
you,
him and
guiding
honor
your
him.
steps,
With
comforting your
long
heart,
life, I
and
will
leading you
satisfy
toward a
him
future
and
filled
show
with
him
hope,
my salvation.
purpose, and love. So,
These are God's
if you
promises
recognize
to
these
those
signs
who
in your
love him,
life,
who
take
know
heart.
his name,
Trust
and who
that God
call
is
upon
working
him.
behind the scenes,
The secret is in
orchestrating every
relationship,
detail for your
knowing
good.
God,
Step
loving
forward
him,
with faith,
and seeking
knowing
him
that by
each
letting
day.
go, you make
So,
room
what
for the
happens when
blessings
you
He has
say Psalm
prepared for you.
91 every morning?
Embrace the journey,
You are not
cherish the
merely
lessons,
reciting
and look
words.
forward to the
You are
new
stepping
relationships
into a
and
spiritual
opportunities that
reality.
await.
You are
In moments of
declaring your trust,
uncertainty, return
inviting
to
God's
prayer.
protection,
Seek
claiming
God's
His
wisdom
promises,
and invite
and
Him to
aligning
lead your
your life
decisions.
with His will.
Surround yourself with
The
people
secrets
who
hidden in
uplift
Psalm
and support
91
you.
are unlocked through
Honor
faith,
your feelings,
spoken
set
confession,
boundaries, and
daily
allow yourself to
devotion.
heal.
Begin each
Above
day
all,
with these words,
trust that God's
and
love
watch
is
as your life is
constant,
transformed.
and His plans for you
Let
are
fear
always
give way
good.
to faith, anxiety to
As you
peace,
move through the process of
vulnerability to
releasing
divine
someone from your
security.
life, remember
God
that
who
you are growing
inspired these
stronger,
words is the
wiser,
same
and more
yesterday,
aligned with
today,
God's
and
purpose.
forever.
Celebrate
Psalm
each
91
step
every
forward,
morning
knowing that
and
you are
discover
walking
the
in
hidden
faith
treasures
and creating
that await
space
those
for
who
the
dwell in
blessings that
secret
await.
place of the
With
Most High.
courage, grace, and trust, you can navigate every transition and embrace the future God has prepared for you.